Hi everybody, I'm Barbara Floersch, Director of the Grantsmanship Center. Welcome to our mini webcast series.
Our Competing for Federal Grants training program will be in Los Angeles, October 1 through 5. I hope you'll join us to get a grip on this very competitive process and to learn what you need to do to win. I've put together this mini webcast to address 6 questions just to give you some idea of a few of the topics you will be addressing during this week of training. What 3 things affect funding available for federal grants? Events, national concerns, and politics. We'll be looking at these things and how they actually affect your organization. What logistics can sink even the best proposal? Missing a deadline. You may say, I would never do that, but technological problems when you've got an e-submission on your hands can put you in a really bad spot. If your budget is $1 over the maximum allowed, or your match is $1 under the requirement, if you use the wrong font, the wrong margins, if there are no page numbers, or you don't attach the required forms, these things can sink your proposal. What are some common considerations? High-level evaluations are usually required in federal proposals, so we'll be looking at how you can find good third-party evaluators and how to work with them effectively. You're going to have to prove your expertise in the field, and so we'll be talking about how you can do that. Often, you'll have to use a best practice approach. Even when you don't, you'll need to show how your approach fits in the spectrum of best practices. What's the most critical thing you can do to win a federal grant? Study the application guidelines. Don't read them once, don't read them twice, interpret them, try to understand the information that's being requested of you, clarify any questions that you have, and write for points. We'll spend a lot of time in the training looking at how you interpret application guidelines so that you can answer the questions correctly. How can you be proactive? We often hear it's impossible to plan a good program, write a good proposal, when you only find out about the competition 3 weeks before the grant proposal's due. Well, you don't want to wait to know about what's going to happen. You want to learn about all the grant programs that match your work that are available. Then establish a submission plan, track those competitions, and then actually establish a work plan for each application and go ahead and get to work. We don't want you to wait for the release of the application guidelines. You really can't understand how to win unless you understand how reviews work. Well, they're managed in various ways, and we'll discuss this. We'll talk about how the evaluation criteria guide the reviews. The reviewers are your peers and they're experts, and we'll talk about what they will know and what they won't know, and even how you can become a reviewer. Even small errors cost points in the review process, and there are factors other than score that are also considered. We'll be looking at all of this. I hope you'll join us October 1 through 5 for this wonderful Competing for Federal Grants training. It'll give you what you need to win. Barbara Floersch for the Grantsmanship Center. Get funded, stay funded.